Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this 31st, last day of May 2024. Thank you for tuning in. It's a Friday. TGIF, I guess. Anyway, listen, guys, the strangest stuff going on out there right now. It kind of is... Anyway, well, you'll find out. I'm going to get started here. Here's one of the things going on. Biden secretly gave Ukraine permission to strike inside Russia with United States weapons. And this is an exclusive story coming from Politico. What can I say about this? Inside Russia, places like Moscow, United States weapons are very potent. They can do an awful lot of damage. Now, what would response be? And there's another thing to consider. Who's going to target these weapons? Does Ukraine have the capability of targeting? Do they have the satellite photos and satellites in place and everything to target these weapons? I'm just asking the question. Do they? Now, I see this kind of as being well, let's take a look further. Let's get in here further and take a deeper dive into this. This article here from the Daily Mail, World War III threats are rising as the United States allows Ukraine to fire its missiles at Russia. So, what exactly is Ukraine's part in all? What would their part be? So, let me get this straight. They build the missile in the West, maybe in the United States, these are U.S. weapons, so I'd assume that they're built in the United States. So they build and assemble the missile and everything. They ship it to Ukraine. Then does Ukraine do the targeting? And what is Ukraine's part? Is it just to push the red button on the missile? Is that it? I'm just wondering here about this. But it says World War III threat is rising as U.S. allows Ukraine to fire its missiles in Russia. Well, Ukraine's launched a lot of drones into Russia. I don't think they've done a lot of damage up till now. But I think these missiles are a different story. I think the capability of these missiles is a different story. And we're going to have to wait and see what develops from this, because it hasn't really happened yet. It's talk so far that Ukraine is going to fire missiles at Russia that's made in the United States. Now, what's Moscow saying about all this? Moscow's warning the West. It says after Ukraine is told that it can hit Russia with Western weapons. It says Russia has accused NATO and the United States of provoking a new level of tension after the U.S. and Germany became the latest allies to let Ukraine military use Western supplied weapons to strike targets inside Russia. Now, it says here that a Berlin spokesman said Germany was convinced Ukraine had the right to defend itself from Russia, especially from cross-border attacks on its second largest city, Kharkiv. U.S. officials said that American-supplied weapons could be used to counter Russian fire near the Kharkiv region, either where Russian forces were hitting them or preparing to hit them. Now, the Kremlin is saying, and their spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, said NATO countries, especially the United States and several European countries, had entered a new round of escalating tensions, and they are doing this deliberately. In remarks quoted by the TASS news agency. And quote-unquote, in parentheses, it says they are in every way possible provoking Ukraine to continue this senseless war, quote unquote. Russian forces. Now that came from Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov and the TASS news agency. Now, moving on to some other stuff talking about here, you all know about the Donald Trump trial, and they've come up with a guilty verdict. I guess there's many counts against him, too many to count, and each one could possibly carry a jail term. It says Donald Trump in this article is now a convicted felon. What happens next? It says here that, I guess when they were, it says, in the span of just a few minutes on Thursday, the foreman of the Manhattan jury read out the unanimous verdict to count after count after count after count that will thrust the country into unknown political territory. He said guilty, and then said the middle-aged man wearing a casual blue sweater, guilty, guilty, guilty. He said, repeating himself 34 times for each of the counts. So evidently he said guilty 34 times in a row. So this brings up an interesting question of irony in the... It would be irony, awfully ironic. I understand there's a possibility that could send Donald Trump to jail, and I think that the maximum penalty for this is 20 years. But all these guilty verdicts, if they added all the 34 times up, it would be, I don't know, an immense amount of time. But yeah, the possibility's there. They could send him to jail. And for quite a long time, 20 years. So that is a possibility. And there's another great possibility, and that he could still, he can still run for president. And he is the front, well, I hear that he's leading anyway. So what happens if he gets elected president and he's in jail? I never seen a situation like this. That the possibility actually exists that could happen. This is beyond bizarre. That would create a situation that would be beyond bizarre if that were to happen. But the possibility of it happening is there right now. Now, we don't know what they're going to do, what the court's going to do, and it's very probable that they'll come out and not send him to jail. But it's not 100% sure. And the odds of him winning the presidency are up in the air right now at this point. But it's there that he could win the presidency from jail. I mean, I just can't get this out of my head. It's like, I've never seen anything like it before, guys. Now, moving on, we're going to get into the financial end of the thing that's going on right now, the situation. And we're seeing silver up 17 cents at 31.27. Now, it just retracing territory. It was at a few days ago. It was 3,200. 32,000. Well, you know, someday it just might be 32,000. But what will you be able to buy with $1 then? Right? It'd probably take $100 to buy to buy what you buy now with $1 if silver's at 32,000. But that would still mean it'd have 10 times the purchasing power it does now. You know? What just happened? What was that? Did you guys see that? What just happened? What just happened here to the price of silver? It's down 46 cents all of a sudden. It just dropped. What in the heck happened? What was that? You guys see that? Rewind it and see. Tell me, what was that? What happened to my charts there? All of a sudden, bang. The spoofer's back? $30.66, down 46 cents. My gosh. Live charts gold, 23.47. It's down $5.10. There was a sudden, I'll tell you guys what I was saying. What's that? What's that about? Looks to me like there was a sudden bang drop of like 50 or 60 cents or something. Just like when I blinked my eyes. Do that again a dozen times, just like when they said the guilty verdict. Guilty, 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 guilty. Do that a dozen times with silver and it would be zero. It would be free. You know, if that happened to like a dozen times, or, well, it would take more than a dozen times. If it dropped 60 cents in the blink of an eye, you know, I mean, what would it take, 30 times? About the same amount as the guilty things. He said 34 times. You know what? I haven't done the math, but if 34 times I said guilty, 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 and silver just dropped like 60 cents, I don't know how many times 60 cents would divide into $30. About 34 or something like that. I mean, I'm just trying to do the math off the top of my head real quick. Anyway, guys, we're looking at Bitcoin right now. 67,460. Ethereum is at 37.72. And XRP is 52.1 cents. Taking a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's up 37 points today at 38,148. Imagine, you know, free silver. They can drop the spot price down to zero. They get total control over it. It's only paper. Just make tons of paper. There's paper companies that could supply them with paper, and they could just write on there how many ounces is in a contract. I think it's 4,000 ounces or something. They could just run them through some sort of a high-speed printer, you know. Buy a stack of paper and run it through a high-speed printer, and they could create all the silver in the world. And the price would drop to almost zero, and you could pave your driveways with silver. That's if the COMEX would stand for delivery. Yeah, just kidding around, guys. Anyway, we do need a little bit of humor in times like these. Anyway, taking a look now at crude oil. 78.06 today. It's down 15 cents. What did I say the Dow was? 38,146. It's up 35 points. And we're going to take a look at bonds and rates. Now, we're seeing a long end fall today. I have no doubt in my mind that this is such a manipulated market. It's unreal. I think that this market, I would call it a mannequin with strings attached to it. It's being like a puppet. And, of course, the central banks are the puppeteer. And they control all of your lives through this particular market right here. This is how they keep you as a slave to the system. Everybody out there, the average Joe out there doesn't realize you're a slave. But think about it differently. You go to your job, right? You make your money. And what does that money allow you to do? Well, if you got a decent job, it allows you to keep a car. It allows you to pay for an apartment or pay for a mortgage. And it allows you to feed yourself. Well, you know what that's called? Well, I mean, it's called room and board. And slaves are entitled to room and board. In fact, from what I understand, if you went back to Egypt and stuff, you know, the slaves back in Egypt were treated quite well. You know, they had beer to drink. They had a nice roof over their head provided by their master. They had time off, and they treated them really good in a lot of cases. They treated their slaves perhaps better than your working class people are treated today. And they had everything they needed. They had their room and board, and that's all you're getting, room and board. So what are you? You just think you're free, but don't pay your rent. See what happens to you. Don't pay your house tax. Don't pay and see what happens to you. See what happens. See who really owns your land. You say, oh, I own this land. Well, if you don't pay your taxes, you're going to find out who really owns the land. Slave. Slave to the system. And how they keep you there is this bond market. These are your chains in your central bank. What they're doing is they're using a tool to rob you of your money, and that tool's called inflation. It's a hidden tax, and it's getting bigger and bigger by the day, and soon it's going to make you into such a state of poverty you won't be even at working 2 jobs. You won't be able to afford your apartment, and you'll have to live in your car. And then the next step down from that is after a while you won't even be able to afford your car. They'll up the price of the licenses and so much because they're spending so much money out there on things like war that they're going to need all the money that they can get from you. Who do you think's going to pay for all this stuff that they're doing, all this garbage? You know, I saw this show on YouTube. No, it was a TikTok video, I think it was. And they were showing them firing the guns on board the ships and stuff. But they had this thing up at the top. It was like a cash register and showed how much it costs. So they got on there and they were firing one of those sea rams or whatever. You know, one of those big ones that goes fires really fast. And it was ching, 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 ching. And it was like, it went up to like $5,000 with just one burst of the trigger of the thing. $5,000. And then they started firing missiles and stuff. And oh my gosh, the price tag. Oh my gosh. In like 3 seconds, they were up to like $1 million. Or $2 million. Gone. Evaporated. You're paying for that. And if it gets a lot worse. Now, taking a look at the US dollar index, 104.65. And the dollar is... It's descending today, but not much. Right now it's going up. Thank you guys for watching my show. Really appreciate my audience out there. Listen, I'm putting on special shows on the weekends, special shows during the week, and it's going to be really good. You get quick access to these videos, so you don't have to wait a half an hour or whatever, or an hour to watch them. And it helps to really support my channel. And I really appreciate my viewers out there who are supporting the channel by joining the membership. Need a few more. The channel, we got to keep this channel going. We're deep into a very desperate period in human history. It's only going to get a lot worse. Thank you guys for your support. We'll catch you guys in the next show. Have a great day. Bye-bye.